Our hot topic this week is intellectual property, and joining us to discuss the steps from a sketch on a cocktail napkin to a fully functioning company are Dave Kalish, managing partner with the law firm of Coates & Bennett, and Tom Stumpf, founder and CEO of Fuelie Systems Incorporated. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us on Bottom Line.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Tom, I'm fascinated. Tell us about the origin of this idea and how you turned it into a company.
Well, I began as a pilot. I began recognizing there was a need for a more efficient form of fuel distribution. People don't realize in the United States that there's approximately 19,000 different locations that you can land an aircraft, whether it's a helicopter or a plane at. But there's less than 2,000 locations where you can get the appropriate fuel for turbines. And I began looking at how can we move the fuel to all of these other locations in an inexpensive and efficient manner and tie it to the avionics suite in the aircraft so that it would talk to the pilots. In other words, if you're flying over somewhere from point to point, talking about these coffee cups, from this coffee cup to that coffee cup to that coffee cup, you have no idea if the fuel's there when you're coming in. You believe it's there, but you don't know. Our system tells you it is there, and it allows you to monitor the approach. It allows you to monitor the helipad or the strip. So that's what really drove it. It's expanded dramatically. Fuelie Systems now, as a big data-driven, telemetry-enabled fuel logistics system, has now gotten recognition by some of the world's leading fuel logistics companies. One in particular, World Fuel, which is a Fortune 92 company, they did about $30 billion in 2016, has told us that they'd like to take our business model and our product and distribute it globally.
So that brings up, what is your business model? Tell me how you make money and what the margin is for your business.
Okay. There's a lot of different applications. Right now, for instance, in Puerto Rico, where we have approximately 3.5 million people without power, one of the main reasons why they don't have power is not because they don't have generators, it's because they don't have the fuel to run the generators. Fuel gets contaminated very easily during these type of natural disasters. We can very easily put fuel. We can put fuel in there where it needs to go based upon the demand structure that's there. That's one example.
So how would you charge? How do you charge that if you did that?
By use, because the telemetry system monitors, maintains, and bills. So if you would put fuel out in this particular instance, because it's current, you would put the fuel there, and the people who would be utilizing it, whether it was FEMA or the Army, the Puerto Rican Army, or National Guard, they would that billing would then go back to the primary payer, and this goes all the way out into residential situations. Like right now, Naples still doesn't have any power. We have a gentleman we spoke with last night. He said we could put 1,000 of your pods, and just so you understand, we have effectively, if you go to your brewery. Okay, you like beer, you go to your brewery, you want to take, you'd like to take it home. You're paying X amount of dollars there at the brewery for a pint. We take the beer from the glass, from the distiller, put it into a case of beer, and then we put it into a 6-pack, and then we put it down into the individual beer can. So you can put it out wherever you want to. You can put the case out there for large parties, a 6-pack for you and your friends, or if you need it yourself, you have an individual beer can. And all of that is connected via the cloud through telemetry-enabled big data it's analytics.
But Dave, how does somebody take an idea like what Tom has done and turn it into a business?
Well, I met with Tom about 4 or 5 years ago, and his initial idea was pretty basic. It was, for the most part, a portable fuel storage system. And so we figured out what the technology was, what the value is. Tom, where do you think the value is? What are people going to want to get out of this? And we filed for patent protection on those ideas. Since that time, the idea has really bloomed. It's really blossomed. So it started with the same basic technology, but now it's gone into all sorts of different areas. Like Tom said, it gets into a lot of the telemetry side of it. It gets into a lot of the sensing side of it. It gets into a lot of the analytics. And those are all areas that we've been able to protect, and we are protecting. And that's really where the value is.
Is there any competition right now in the marketplace?
None.
None. That makes it a little more challenging for you to protect.
It does, because this is an area that no one's ever really seen before. So it kind of, like Tom said, you have World Fuel out there. You have these large manufacturers, it's large distributors, and you have very, very small ones. But there's nothing that fits this. And so that's what we have to try to protect, is that niche. And it's been difficult in some senses to try to explain to people, and explain in my case to the patent offices around the world exactly what we have, and for them to understand that, and to make sure that we protect it in a way that it adds value to the company.
So this is not like a for utility patent.
It is a utility
It
patent.
is a
Absolutely.
utility.
It's completely, it's the
We have
function
4.
of the idea that's where all the value is. This is something that's completely new. No one's ever done this type of functionality before. That is completely
It's
utility
on-demand
patents.
fuel. Yeah, Uber, ride hailing, this is for fuel. And when you look at where this migrates to, from a technology standpoint, going back to aviation, what it does is it nothing less than creates a new transportation system. Do you like going to your airport?
Right.
Right? Okay, this will eliminate. You'll take your phone, you'll go to Uber, and then go to Uber Fleeg, Overflight, or Liftoff. See where you want to go. Hit the button, and you'll see the destination. You'll see the helicopter flights coming in. When you select a flight, let's say you wanted to go down and see the Miami Dolphins play the Pittsburgh Steelers down in Florida. Both of you wanted to roll. Say, let's go now. You'll be able to on-demand travel, not just in a car from one point to another. This is what is called air mobility, on-demand air mobility, and it's a huge movement. There's a big conference right now out in Colorado, I believe, or no, Fort Collins. It's out west this weekend, and all the players. There's a company out there by the name of Voom. They're operating an on-demand air mobility system out of São Paulo, Brazil. They're funded by Airbus. There's billions of dollars being bet on this industry right now, and no one's even heard of it.
What is your exit strategy?
Crazy.
What is your exit strategy, Tom?
The exit strategy? I'm not exiting. This is too big, and this
nobody
is.
says
I'm not exiting. No.
Well, in the final 30 seconds, you've gone through this now. What's the lesson learned? If somebody has a great idea and wants to turn it into a company, what have you experienced that would be good advice for them?
Personally, the first thing I would say is find someone like David Kalish. Work, coordinate your activities, look at a global strategy if your IP and your idea is capable of being developed into something that's going to impact people everywhere. And that's critical to the process.
You have to be able to identify the value of the company. What is the real value that's going to drive this company, that's going to keep it in existence? And you have to figure out at a fundamental level what that is and how can we protect that. And once you get to that point, protect that, and then you can start building off of that.
This has been a great conversation. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us on this week's show.